Hey everyone. Hey to everyone on the screen and hey to everyone who's listening to us. I'm Joy Hogue, and this is our Families as Allies Live that we do every time there's a fifth Wednesday in the month. And we are having a few technical difficulties that we're working out, and I think Henry's going to be joining one of us on the screen pretty soon. But we wanted to say welcome, and we're going to start off with some introductions and we have some people with us who aren't normally on this live, but are very much a part of us and who we treasure very much. And they're going to be sharing some things too. So I already introduced myself, and we'll start with the top left corner. Nikki, you can start introducing yourselves, and then we'll just go around the screen. Where you can unmute, Nikki.
Okay, I was about to ask, does that mean I'm first? Okay,
yes, that means you're first.
And I work. Yeah, so I'm Nikki Flippins, and I work with Families as Allies. I do a lot of training as well as just supporting families.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Taylor. I'm the office manager with Families as Allies.
Hi, I'm Henry Moore. I'm having some difficulties with my internet in my office. I'm in here with Jackie with Families as Allies. I'm Director of Family Treatment Practice and Hinds County MAP Team Coordinator. And all that is that I support families in getting what they want and what they need.
My name is Karina Price. I'm a family partner with Families as Allies.
My name is Ashley Glasgow. I am a family peer support through Pine Belt Mental Health MyPAC team, and I also am involved in the MAP teams for the 4 coastal counties and a partner with Family Allies.
And we're so glad you're here. All righty, and then we'll skip me because y'all already know me and I talk too much anyway. Okay, Ms. Pittman.
Hello, my name is LaTanya Pittman. I am a peer support specialist, but not currently working as a peer support specialist. I'm just currently a grandmother who's an advocate and help other parents try to become a parent peer support specialist.
And we're so glad you're here. And we know you're being a grandmother right now. So we really, really appreciate you coming on. We wanted to start off, we do have, as y'all can see, Ms. Pittman, Ms. Glasgow, Ashley, and LaTanya here who do parent peer support. And I know yours has been more at the policy level and kind of outreach and some informal things that you've been able to do, Ms. Pittman. But we wanted to give you all a chance to let people know about what it's like to be a parent peer support specialist, because we want lots of people to be parent peer support specialists. And if you can tell us a little bit about what you like about what you do, what you're doing, and then what you thought about the training. And are you where you can talk a little bit, Ms. Pittman? I know things are keeping
Yes, a little bit. I'm at the schoolhouse where the kids are at.
There you go.
Did you want to share anything about parent peer support, or should we turn it over to Ashley, or what do you think?
Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay. Well, I got into parent peer support from my son, who is ADHD and ODD, and having to help him and learning how to help him, really, because kids in general don't come with manuals, and sometimes we don't know what we're doing, and we figure it out as we go. And I have learned how to help other parents help themselves, help them families, teach them how to advocate for their own families. And I have really enjoyed it, and it has been very inspiring, and it's even taught me how to become a better parent in itself, as well as the training that I went through with Families as Allies was amazing and very informational. And I still reach out to Jacqueline with any questions that I have that I can't answer myself. And I just love to see the change that we make as family peer supports, helping our parents make the changes that they're learning through communication, through coping, through the school systems, and seeing the positive difference that it makes in their own personal families.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I know, Nikki, you do a lot of the training for parent peer support. So do you have any thoughts just about someone who might be out there thinking, hey, do I want to do that thing that Ashley and LaTanya did? What would you say?
I think we have two really good examples. So I think that's important because Ashley talks about that she's already working for Pine Bend Mental Health. And so she's doing this as a passion, but also in the capacity of her job because she's wanting to gain more information for herself, but also be able to support other families. So definitely people who are hired in the public and private agencies across the state who have individuals who they want to be certified peer support specialists through the Department of Mental Health here in Mississippi will come and do the training with us. And then we also have Miss LaTanya, who talked about that. And initially, at this point, she's not working in an official capacity as if this is her regular job, but she has grandchildren she's caring for, as well as other individuals, whether that's family, friends, or people in her community who she wants to help support. So I think that's a good example to let us know that if someone has a desire, if they have that experience, they have that lived experience as a parent or caregiver of a child with some type of social emotional behavioral health challenge or even health related challenges, that you could be a support for other families, and you don't already have to be employed. We do actually share other information during the process, after the process. So if someone who's already had the training, who may have come for a more personal reason, decided they wanted to seek employment, we do try to make sure that they're aware if there are other opportunities where they can be employed and use it in that capacity as well. So I think the training is great for anyone who feels like that information about how to navigate systems across the state would be helpful for them on a personal or professional capacity. So, because we talked through information about education, mental health, health related issues, juvenile justice, social services. So there's just a wealth of information that's available for a person to utilize, like I said, on both a personal and a professional level.
That's really helpful. And you're right. We've got two wonderful people on here. And Ms. Pittman, sometimes I feel like you really sell yourself short. You are out there doing so many things. And I am on policy committees that you're sitting on too. And I think that just shows, what a difference parents can make. And also when we talk about parents or caregivers, sometimes people don't know what caregiver means, but we mean people like you. So somebody other than that child's parent, and I know you got your grandbabies and you're raising them, that's what we mean by caregiver, whoever's raising that child. And one thing, and there's just, I could go on, but I promise I won't, about all the people who've gone through parent peer support. But one thing I think is so cool about what you've done, Ashley, is I know you work for a mental health center, but you're doing so much in youth court. And this really helps across systems. And we definitely want feedback if there's anything we can do to make the training more helpful. So any other thoughts about parent peer support? And I know, Todd, I don't know if you've got the brochure handy where you can pull it up, but we have a brochure on our website that's under the resources, and it tells more about parent peer support, and it has all the upcoming training dates. Now you can do this if you're interested in doing parent-to-parent support in any system, like special healthcare needs, juvenile justice, or whatever. We do this in conjunction with the Department of Mental Health. So we go on their training schedule because that just works best. And the next training is actually in September, but the application date for that is passed. So the next one that's open is November 13th through 16th. And I think the application has to be in by October. Let me see if I get it right. 16th. Yes, I got it right. So if you are interested, check out this brochure and then it will give you the link to the application packet that actually goes to the Department of Mental Health. So, and then we were going to go over to, and what to do if you're already a parent.
I just want to make sure we included Joy.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I
No,
just
go
want to make
ahead.
sure we included as well, when you mentioned about caregivers, that we also remind people we're also talking about, like foster parents or adoptive parents as well.
Absolutely. And also, another thing that comes up, and that brochure says that they have to be the legal guardian. One thing that comes up sometimes is, adolescents sometimes will go out and find their own family. And there may not be a legal arrangement, and maybe they came from another state and they, said, this is who I want to live with, and that person is helping them get what they need. If you're in a situation like that and you're interested in learning to do parent peer support or becoming a parent peer supporter, we will definitely work with you on that. And so even though that is a requirement on paper, we will work with people because we want to do whatever is best for parents and caregivers and for the children they're helping. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off, Nikki. Can y'all think of anything else? Okay. The next thing we were going to talk about is for people who already are parent peer supporters. And if you're certified through the Department of Mental Health, they just sent out information about how to get recertified. And do you have that link handy, Todd? Okay. So scroll down a little bit, and there is actually a link, that instructions and renewal form at this link. Is it possible to go to that? You're just magical, Todd. Okay, and so the first thing is, this is all due by September 29th. You can turn it in, and this is if you currently are a parent peer supporter or any kind of peer supporter certified through the Department of Mental Health. This all has to be done by September 29th, and you or your organization will have to pay a renewal fee, and I think it's $40. And in most cases, if you are working for an organization, they should pay for it. If you are just out there doing this work and maybe you're not getting paid through an organization and you need help with that fee, that's something you can check with us on. And we'll help look at resources for finding that. And then you can submit your paperwork and your payment either electronically or through the mail, but both have to be done the same way. And then if you'll scroll down, we're going to look at the continuing education requirements. And that tells you some people you can check with the Department of Mental Health. That little chart right in the middle. Now, maybe everybody's quicker than I am, but this took me a little while to figure out. Okay, so recertification comes up every 4 years. And at first I thought that meant, okay, you get certified, then you don't have to worry about certification for 4 more years. But that's not what it means. It means every 4 years, the Department of Mental Health recertifies peer supporters. So whether you just got certified last week or whether you got certified 4 years ago, it still applies to you. So you still have to do this paperwork. But the one thing that changes is how many hours of continuing education you have to have. And so this chart shows you, like if you were certified 48 months ago or more, which would be 4 years, up to just a little over 3 years and 1 month, then you'd have to have 20 hours. Then you can see 3 years to a little over 2 years, 15 hours, and so forth. Now, you don't have to turn in, and at the end of this form, there's your paperwork that you actually have to turn in. You don't have to turn in the actual hours. You don't have to turn in your certificates, but you need to keep them on file. And if you work for an organization, keep them on file, like with your human resource department or personnel department. Because what may happen is some of these will be randomly audited by the Department of Mental Health, and they will need to see the proof that you did this continuing education. And some of the hours, up to half, can count if you helped present relevant material. Now, you may be thinking, what in the world do I do if I haven't done my continuing education, or I'm not sure what counts? It's basically any training that's available that is relevant to your work. And then it can include, like if you're working on a degree, it can include some of your classwork. There's just different, and this form will go over that, things that are required. Sometimes people think it has to be like from just a specific list, but it's pretty broad. And we also did a blog with some ideas for continuing education. So go back that blog that we actually clicked from. So as you go through this blog, you can see we have some things that we do every month: our supportive coaching and our leadership and policy discussion. We are now doing those in a format where they have the goals and objectives and all that, so they can count for continuing education. We have taken some of the recorded trainings we have, which are definitely relevant to parent peer support. And if you want to go listen to one of those recordings, go through the slides, we have, we need to have a way to know that people actually really listened and got the material, the information they needed. So you can do those, but we also have an assessment that goes with each one, a test that you can take that shows that you met the objectives for that training. And you can, if you're interested in those, let us know. Then these are some webinars by some of our partners that are particularly relevant to parent peer support. The Mississippi Recovery Advocacy Project shared one thing, and they have actually shared a lot of things through the Mental Health Association of South Mississippi is a continuing education provider and has some great trainings coming up for all different kinds of peer support that are very much worth taking a look at. And those are on our events calendar. And then you can see some things from the Mississippi Parent Training and Information Center that are coming up. 2 of those are virtual, or wait, I think 2. No, one of those is virtual and the other 2 are in person, that are very, very relevant if you're helping parents. And then there are some online courses with the Federation of Families, and then one more. So those are not things you're anyway required to do. But if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I haven't done my continuing education or enough of it and need to catch up, those are some ideas. So we just wanted to make sure y'all had that information. Any thoughts, questions, words of wisdom, Ashley or LaTanya?
If you're thinking, go ahead.
You gonna cry every time we play a game, we ain't gonna play no game.
Well, I want to say that it's a joy just being a parent peer support specialist, even though I'm not as active working, but it's like when I'm in the community, when I'm out at the school with my grandkids and doing different things, and I see other parents and I tell them about the program, about being a parent peer support specialist. And the number one main thing about being a parent peer support specialist is that you learn how to be an advocate, not only for yourself and your family, but also teaching somebody and helping somebody to be an advocate for their family also. And that's the joy of being a parent peer support specialist.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, Joy, what you were saying earlier about LaTanya selling herself short, it sounds like she's doing all kind of work out there and talking to other parents and telling them about the parent peer support and even teaching them how to advocate for themselves as well. So doing the same thing that I'm doing, so absolutely don't sell yourself short. And if you're thinking about, taking the class and you're not sure, go ahead and take it. It's full information. It's not going to do anything but help. That's all it's going to do. And then you can figure out what you want to do for it from there forward.
I think it's kind of cool that LaTanya's actually kind of demonstrating parent peer support on here, because she's up at the school. Everything's wild. We can hear children. We can hear everybody else. And that's just life. And everybody is up there helping each other. And because of the things and you've learned, you're helping your kids, and then probably other people helping other people help their kids. So that's great. And it's also interesting that you're at the school, because we were going to talk. We know lots and lots of things come up this time of year. And Ashley, I hope you can stay on. If you can't, I totally get it. But we'd love for you to stay on for this whole thing. And you too, Ms. Pittman. But we wanted to talk about some things that happen at school. And Todd, if you can pull up that one blog where we talked about going to school with an IEP, Henry's going to go over some of these things that often happen in the calls we get this time of year.
Oh, okay. Now I'm unmuted. Okay, so I've been with Families as Allies full-time 10 years in the business of families helping other families. And there are people on here that's been here longer than I have. One thing we have found is that it's the same issues, okay? Different families, and it is personal because we're talking about, families, when we get calls from families. Different families, but the same issues. And you might say, Henry, what do you mean the same issues? This is what I'm saying. I'm glad you asked. So when we help families file formal state complaints, I save them and I take the personal information off, but I leave the school district on. And I can pull up a complaint from 10 years ago and pull up one from 2 days ago. It's the exact same issue. So we're here to, to support other families because we're families, but also, remind you that these things are going on. So if they've been going on the same things over and over and over again, to me, it appears that this is a systemic issue. So if you could pull up that slide, I think I'm gonna go through some things. And you can see here, you can click on sample letters. There's a timeline that school district must follow when you request an evaluation for your child, okay? And that's something families have to do. Sometimes we leave it up to the system, and it may not happen. But families, you can request an evaluation for your child, and we have a template for you to use. You can also request an independent education evaluation, okay? The next one is, and we're talking about families of children with IEPs. And one thing to remember when we go back to the one about requesting an evaluation, when the school district receives that evaluation, they have to, let me just be plain, they have to treat your child as if your child already has an IEP going through the evaluation process. The next one is the letter requesting appropriate services. And that letter is, it's a template. You can pull it down, and it says as a member of the, IEP team, and they're requesting appropriate service under FAPE, which is free appropriate public education. And it's very simple. Just list the things that you want for your child. When we get the calls, we can almost fill out the document for the families because they're calling us, telling us what they want and what they need for their kids. However, you can do it and submit this letter requesting appropriate services. Also, another thing, a facilitator for your meeting link. It's a document for that. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, the facilitator should act as a third party. Just say you disagree with the IEP team, you disagree with the district, you need a third party, someone that's neutral. Well, you can request an IEP facilitator at the district's expense, okay? You don't have to pay for this person. You can request that person. The next thing is, and I just alluded to that a few minutes ago, the formal state complaint, and we have a reference book. We get social work interns, and it's a book. And we were assisting a family, and I said, open the book. And we opened the book, and it was the same thing. And this was from years ago. So, like I said, these are systemic issues. I do believe in Mississippi, sometimes we may fear that the school district is going to retaliate against you. However, these things need to be challenged. these are your rights. You have procedure safeguards. You have, and those are your rights, those procedure safeguards, okay? Which means that you can agree or you can disagree. Those are your rights. And then there's a blog post you can click on about former state complaints. And let's scroll down a little bit more. Yeah. So I covered that, and I know Jackie may want to add, but I was saying earlier, we've seen some of these. We've seen these things. Okay, they happened years ago, and the same thing is happening. It's 2023, and these things are happening in 2003. And I'm smiling because it's kind of like, I'm a little relaxed, talking about these things because I really understand that these systemic issues and we're families happening other families, and you're not alone. We will be here to help you challenge these systems. Jackie, you want to add anything?
Sounded great to me. So we're always here to help families that are calling and need help. So we're just one phone call away.
And where do you find that sample letter and that information for people who don't know? That's on y'all's website?
Yes, it's on our website. And I think that was in a blog. You can click on that, or you go to our website, helpful documents and helpful resources and documents. You go on our resource page. I think I'm saying it right. All those things are there. Just click on, and if you need us to assist you with completing them, we are here. But they're on our website.
Because that is awesome. I did not know that y'all had a template letter. I've been helping some parents with some IEP meetings lately, and they've been writing their own requests, and because that gives the school that they've been fighting with, 60 days to reply to it. But a template would help them out tremendously. So that is awesome. I did not even know that was available.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we hope that we have most of the forms that families might need that they can take and, just use it and add their information in. But if y'all notice anything that would be helpful to have that we don't, we certainly want to create it, because it's hard when you're stressed out with everything that's happening with your child. And then it's like, you want me to figure out how to write a letter to and find this person and whatever. So, and we also have guidance on like, who do you write the letter to? And you can see that sample letter, requesting evaluation, requesting appropriate services, the independent educational evaluation, how to file different types of complaints. The most common one is a formal state complaint, but we also have guidance on how to file a discrimination complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. So there's quite a bit on there. And again, if you see anything or don't see something that you think should be on there, then please let us know. And that 12 most common reasons parents file complaints under IDEA can be really helpful, because if you do decide to file a formal state complaint, it can't be like, I think this teacher was mean, or I think this teacher left my child out, or this teacher didn't talk to me. It has to be something related to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, but you don't have to have the act memorized. These are some common things that happen that are violations of IDEA. And one thing we see a lot of that sometimes comes up this time of year, and I'm sure this is under one of these, but it's this idea of if the school calls you and says, come pick up your child, and they are saying, let me see if that's on there. That would actually be a child fine violation. Yeah, it's on the first one. So let's just say your child hasn't been evaluated and you think, well, it seems like they need to be evaluated. I think they might need an IEP. And then the schools call you and it's going away. Okay, I'm back. So you can't get them they say you can't bring them back until you get them evaluated. they're letting you know that they're learning that's related to their behavior. So at that point, they're violating IDEA if they're not identifying that child and they're not evaluating their child. So that's a time where you can request that evaluation and also do a formal state complaint. If your child already has an IEP and they're telling you things like that, the school's obligation, rather than saying, and we hear this a lot, go get your child a risk assessment and you have to go do that. It's the school's obligation to bring everyone together for that process and to first look at the IEP or 504 plan to make sure that it's addressing those behavioral needs, those behavioral health needs. So if they're telling you, go get your child a risk assessment, we think they're dangerous, that's also a situation. And obviously the first thing we want to do is support your child and make sure they're okay. But where it's the district's responsibility and there's federal guidance that has come out on that. So those kind of things can get really confusing sometimes, and we are always happy to support families with that. But if you're being told, go get your child evaluated somewhere, chances are there is an obligation that the district has that they're not following through on. And we can help you sort all that out. So anything else y'all can think about calls that happen about school this time of year and all that kind of stuff?
I can think of calls that have been popular at this time of year is least restrictive environment calls, where they want, maybe the school wants to place a child in a different environment than the parent or vice versa, that it's okay to bring up in IEP meetings that I believe this is the appropriate least restrictive environment for my child, and not being afraid to bring that up in IEP meetings or putting that on the letter requesting appropriate services or the formal complaints as well.
Absolutely. And sometimes it can be really scary to go to IEP meetings if you're the parent, because it can feel like, oh, they know a bunch of stuff I don't know. Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But even if they do, remember, you know something they don't know. You know your child better than anyone. And that's the most important expertise in the room. And even if you don't know all the right words or whatever, try to remember appropriate. Free and appropriate public education is really good. And what Jackie just said, least restrictive environment. But you know what kind of setting you think your child can learn in. You know what's going to help them learn. Even if you don't know like all the things about the curriculum or the technique or whatever, you know those things. You know your child, and they don't know your child like you do. So you are awesome and important and a much needed and legally recognized member of that team. So if Henry's not on here right now, but if he was, he'd be singing "You Got the Power." Okay. All right. Can y'all think of anything else on school? And we'll switch over to the last thing. And just imagine Henry singing "You Got the Power." Okay. The last thing we wanted to touch on is this new model of providing mental health care in the community that Mississippi is looking at, and some ways you can give input. And I'm going to let you talk about that, Jackie.
Hi, so we're going to go over the Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. So Mississippi is one of 15 states that recently received a planning grant to complete a state model. They're also known as CCBHCs. So this new model is to deliver mental health and substance use treatment services in the community. So we're just encouraging everyone to take the survey, especially those receiving those type of services, because you would know about that, more than anyone. So on this blog, you can definitely see where you can learn more about that information and to take that survey. And towards the end of the blog, it talks about committees where you can join one or more committees as well. So we encourage you to join those committees as well, and letting Mississippi Department of Mental Health and the partner organizations that created this assessment know about the information and what you feel about for the survey.
Great. And I know in that blog, there's also, and you can find that on our website. I think it came out on the 15th of this month. There's also, and I forgot about this until we looked at it just now. See, I learn on Families as Allies Live too. Amy Swanson is the project director for that. And they actually did a nationwide search, and she is from Ohio, but doing a lot of this remotely. But she has a lot of expertise, especially in Medicaid strategies, and a real demonstrated commitment to making sure the people that the services are about are the ones that are directing the project. She's very open to you emailing her and just talking to her or calling her. I think her cell phone number's on there. Yeah. So if you want to talk to her, I'd really encourage you to do that. I've met with her, and y'all know I talked her ear off. We had a really good conversation. I'm excited about her approach to all this. Okay. I think that is all we officially had. Did anybody think of anything while we were talking? It was like, oh, we need to share this. We forgot. Did you think of something, Nikki? I can't tell if you were nodding or just listening.
No, just nodding.
Okay. All right. Remember to subscribe to our newsletter and then check out our events. You're also able to donate on our site. We always appreciate that, but mostly we just appreciate you and appreciate everyone being here today and joining us. And we hope in every way, everyone out there will join with us, because there's so much we can get done for our children when we all work together. And I want to say I appreciate everyone so much. We lost Henry somewhere along the way, but we appreciate him. I appreciate all of you who work here at Families as Allies. Ms. Pittman, Ms. Glasgow, thank you for joining us. And thank you. You warm my heart just knowing you're out there and the good things you're doing. Thank you to all of you. Karina, you never talked, I don't think. You got any words? Hey, you know how we always end stuff. You tell everyone how we end things and you end it for us.
Go forth and conquer.
That's right. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Bye.